I'm usually not one for dream interpretation, and this is normally a channel about creativity, unblocking your real self, having the life you want to have, going from the story, someone else's story, and getting back to your own story. So, becoming yourself, your own beautiful, creative self. But the fact is that I had a dream about Walter White, of all people, the Heisenberg character from Breaking Bad last night. And you know what? I think there's something significant there. So here what was the dream, and here's why I think it's relevant to this channel and to you and to pretty much everyone on Earth. Yeah, I just said it. I think it's relevant to everyone on Earth right now, not because it's prophetic, but because I think the problem I've been having is essentially the problem everybody's been having. Okay. So essentially, the dream is very simple, at least the bits that I remember. There are two characters. I'm seeing them I'm observing them, right? One is Walter White, so the drug dealer, the meth kingpin. In the series, he gets cancer and he decides that he wants to, make money for his family, but really it's all a lie because he's an angry old guy or 50-year-old guy. He's resentful and spiteful and evil to the core, really. So essentially, he's just this bad, resentful character. That's the thing. Okay, he's a cauldron of rage and resentment, and he's arguing in my dream with a girl, a woman. I don't know who it is. It's not Skyler from Breaking Bad. It's just a woman. But in my dream, I'm observing this, and these are well-known characters. In fact, I'm not physically present in the dream. This is clearly a manifestation of my psyche, right? As all dreams are. So the Walter White character, he's really mad and almost foaming at the mouth, and he takes off a frame that's hanging from the wall, and there's glass on top of it, and he puts it or throws it on the floor, and he starts walking on it and breaking the glass. And I think he actually does this a couple of times. So this is like very symbolic, probably, though I'm not sure what it means. And that's about it. That's the dream. So he's very pissed off, and the girl looks at him like that. And this one, as I said, dream interpretation is notoriously hard to do, actually. You can only really interpret dreams for yourself because it's so linked with the different, subtleties of your own psyche. But this one is pretty simple to interpret. The guy, Walter White, is my conscious self, my personality, my ego, if you like, all this thing. And he's upset because I've been trying to fix stuff in my life for years. And it's not working in many instances, to be quite honest. Doesn't seem to be working. And the girl is my unconscious self. But the trick is that it's my deepest unconscious self. And here's why this is relevant to everybody. So we're in kind of a pickle, humanity is right now, because we think we're so smart and so knowledgeable and science this and yada, yada, yada. But we don't know a lot about the universe or especially about ourselves, right? So we know more about the outer universe than the depths of the ocean, but we know more about the depths of the ocean than even the not so deep depths of our own psyche. We know nothing, but we have some observations. So here's what I have observed. Okay, so there is an unconscious, no matter what Zizek says. I like Zizek, by the way, but he's wrong on this. There is totally an actual unconscious. And like Jung said, though I'm not an actual Jungian, but many of the things he says I think are quite useful. And one of the things he said is that we actually have two basically two unconscious layers. It's more complicated than that, but basically we have the personal unconscious, which is stuff we've repressed, and we have the deepest collective unconscious. And the paradox is that your truest self, your truest individual self, in fact lies on the other side of the collective unconscious, if you like. It seeps forth from the collective unconscious. And that has very deep and meaningful, metaphysical and existential, repercussions if we start to think about it. And we have many centuries and millennia before us we'll need to think about it for a long time before we even begin to scratch the surface of all that, probably. But I have found that there is definitely an unconscious, and it is not inferior to your conscious self. Okay, it is in many ways a lot more powerful. And while the deeper, while the so-called personal unconscious, the repressed stuff, that is kind of like almost biological. I mean, it kind of responds like your body responds, and your body is very, very smart, but it's reacting to stimuli, and things like that. I mean, it has a form of intelligence, but it's not wise and all-knowing. Ultimately, it's still just a way of interacting with the environment. Whereas the deepest, truest self, so the Greeks used to have this thing called, I was about to say it's what the Greeks called the daimon. Daimon is the intercessor between you and your deepest self. It's what the magicians call the holy guardian angel. And why am I saying all this? Why does it concern you? Well, you're a human being, presumably, so you have a psyche, and this conscious self, which is talking to you right now, it's only at best half of who you really are. And your unconscious self is really trying not only to contact you, okay, but it's actually trying to help you fix your effing life, which is what I've been trying to do for quite a long time, and which is what the world has been kind of trying to do. Right? Even, there was an election and the fascists won in the United States. And if you voted for the guy, more power to you. Your guy is in charge, hooray, okay? But yeah, there was an election in the States, and now the rest of the world is looking at that, and, many of us are like, goodness, like, what the hell is going on, right? But here's why I'm actually not so, though the consequences are certain to be catastrophic for everyone, at the same time, I'm not so worried about it because it's still all ego. You see, here's the thing. It's still all just superficial upper level stuff, or at best, deeper, confused, personal, suppressed stuff, emotions, and that thing has no clue at all. It does not know how to fix anything. It knows how to get into trouble. It knows how to blame the outside world for the consequences of its own, short-sighted decisions. But it can't fix anything because the only way really to get out of any situation is really to access your intuition and your deeper self. And I'm sorry if that sounds new age or you woo-woo, whatever you can call it. But that's the pickle the world is in, because that is actually how things work. Yeah. So that is actually how the Homo sapiens animal works. You have a conscious self, you have this middle ground where your personal and conscious so-called, but you have your deepest self. So conscious self and so-called unconscious self, but which is only unconscious from the point of view of the ego, and which is really trying very hard to grab the attention of the conscious self to say, hey, grab my hand. Okay, this is what is called the alchemical wedding. Okay, and why do they call that the alchemical wedding? Because one part of the psyche is the male, metaphorically here, is one part of them is the male, so the groom, and the other part of the psyche is female, it's the bride. And depending how you look at it, the conscious self, the ego, if you like, is either the groom or the bride. The metaphor works both ways, and so it doesn't really matter which one you choose. Depending on which aspect of the process or the relationship you want to illuminate, you'll either say the groom is the conscious or the bride is the conscious, and vice versa, right? So it doesn't really matter. But in this case, very obviously, why is my psyche taking the form in my dream, which is an expression of my personal unconscious and possibly my deepest unconscious, but certainly the irrational half, the non-rational part of the psyche? Why is it telling me this? Because my conscious self has been trying to do things and it can't. That is not how it works. We like to think it does because we're stupid. Because we're blind and stupid, which is how we got into this mess. And why are we blind and stupid? Because we don't listen to our intuition, which is where the real intelligence lies, you see. So that's what I've been doing, and that's what the world, looks to me, has been doing. That's why we're in such a mess. So in my case, what's the terrifying moral here of this story? It's just relax and do nothing. And this is a message I've actually gotten from my own psyche, because there are meditations and exercises you can do to talk with your psyche, or just note down your dreams. It doesn't matter. There's countless ways, very simple. But message I got was from my psyche, if you like, it's just do nothing. And that doesn't, and obviously now I'm filming this video, I'm building a coaching channel, I'm doing lots of stuff. I'm doing things on one sense, but do nothing here is kind of like the Chinese Wu Wei. It's kind of like a total surrender to what is. You're still doing things, but these things come from your intuition, and they come from, okay, I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do this. And you have no guarantee of result. You have nothing in the outside world, and it's not always comfortable. But right now, I think that's the message. And I'm not being prophetic here. I'm just saying I'm a human being, and what is above is like what is below. And, I have a psyche, same as everybody. And my problem looks a lot like the problem of the world, or many people right now, which is I've been stuck in my programs and my ego. And why is it Walter White? Because he's pissed off and resentful. And why is that? Why is he arguing with the woman, so the deepest part of the psyche? Because he thinks, the ego, the psyche, that, I've been doing all this stuff and it doesn't work and you don't listen to me and all, la 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 la, all these things. But is he right or is he wrong? Well, he needs to let go. He's stuck in his own story, his own narrative, And that's probably what the frame means, or something like that. It's probably something like that. Yeah, he's angry because he's putting all this effort and it's not working, but all the effort is kind of why it's not working. You need to let your deep, personal, inner partner do her share, if you like, of the work, which in all likelihood, I'm guessing, will bring you exactly everything that you want. I'm guessing. Yeah. The psyche, the ego, the so-called sapiens part of Homo sapiens, it really doesn't have a clue. It has to acknowledge that the deepest part of the self is actually connected to a lot more knowledge and wisdom than our conscious self ever will. And that the only way for our conscious self to access that, let's call it wisdom or intuition, is through that relationship with the deepest psyche, so the woman part, metaphorically, and both men and women have both sides. It's all metaphors, it's all symbols. But yeah, it's time for this dance to let the inner lady lead, lead the dance. So go ahead. I'm letting you lead. And yeah, so if you want to support my work, link in the description. I actually offer coaching for if you're stuck creatively. I can definitely help you with that. Help you with the clues in your life, get unstuck, all these things, get back to the story you want to live. So first consultation is free. Drop me an email. Be very happy to talk to you. And if you have any calling inside you, even if it's faint, please do so. Please write your songs. Please write your novel, your short stories. Please take that, dog dog hair clipping class to, make hedgerow clipping. Whatever it is you want to do. If yeah, listen to your heart, listen to your intuition, and create your masterpieces. I want to see them, and the world needs them, and the world needs you. Take care. See you soon.